Good morning, everyone. I'm Pierre from Italy, and before starting, I want to tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I came from a little town in the center of Italy, and when I was 18, I got accepted in one of the most prestigious business schools of the country. I soon realized that prestigious meant expensive. Luckily, my parents could afford this education, but I was in a position that I was too rich to get a scholarship, but really struggling to afford a high-quality education. And I was not the only one. So when I graduated, I decided to run Talents Venture with the aim to empower people's life through the power of education. Education had made a huge impact on myself, and I think that we need to solve some problems right now because education is broken. So innovation is going very fast, and we got obsolescence of skills. Universities are trying to keep up with this fast-changing environment because they need to attract students in order to survive. Also, companies need to attract talents in order to grow and embrace new challenges. But students are missing because talent need money to upskill and reskill. So education is broken, but really very exciting to work in because we need to solve one of the most important problems of our generation, which is to fund and have talents for having our companies and our nations growing. And according to Holland, this is a $400 billion market. So how are we solving this problem? We are solving it thanks to data that help us to develop solutions and products for students, companies, and higher education institutions. So let me show what we are doing. So thanks to data, we are able to understand which are the skills that are needed on the job market. And we can finance students with a model which is study now and pay later only if you land a job. In the last month, we raised around 1 million euros from important companies such as the Accenture, which is a consultancy company that you might know. So students are the first piece. Then we got also working with companies. We are helping companies to reduce the talent acquisition cost by letting them know which are the specific programs that are teaching specific skills and also matching the students that we are financing with them. Finally, we are helping stakeholders to increase their impact in the higher education field. So we are helping universities, providing them data to increase the quality of their courses with a database. And we are helping companies such as Deloitte, it was the logo over there, and Pearson, providing insights on the higher education. So we think also that we did a great job looking at financials. We were cash positive since day one. We are closing this year with $500,000 revenue of dollars revenue, and we did this thanks to a team which is composed by 2 co-founders, me and Alberico, which I should give the credit for this fancy slide, and other 3 people. And looking at the business model, we were able to be cash positive because we think that we connected everything. So we start from data that help us to understand which kind of impact investment investors could do. And we are charging them with a commission. Then money goes to the students. Students are paying for education, and we charge them for the money that they can raise on our platform. Students go to higher education institutions, and we have universities paying for their lead. And finally, students go to companies, and we are charging companies because we are connecting themselves. We are also using data to help universities to increase the quality of the courses. So we have this database that they are buying for a subscription model. And we help companies to understand where they can fund the talent that we are not financing, and we charge them with paying for a report. Finally, we work also with institutions to help them get the insight on a consultancy business model, and everything starts back because we are able to understand which are the trends and finance those students. So I think that we were able to turn our marketing and operational costs into revenue, and this made us sustainable. So now it's fancy. For me, it's an honor because what was my story, it became the story of Sarah. It's a second-generation immigrant. We financed them for a bootcamp in cybersecurity. Mattia, college dropout, we financed him for a web development bootcamp. And now we are looking for increasing the impact, raising $10 million for our platform to sustain around 2,000 minority and underprivileged students. Thanks for your attention.
Yeah, 4 minutes does go by fast. Overall, really good. I like that you identified the problem within yourself. You were the story, frankly, that helped you kind of look at, wow, this is a problem probably for more than just myself, and now that provides us some passion coming directly from you because you kind of lived through it. Would like to know a little bit more about how you identified the students and get them through the program. I see kind of the back end, how you're identifying the companies and their need, but obviously you need that pipeline as well. I think you did a little bit at the end in terms of talking about those two students in particular. Would love to even hear, obviously I know you don't have the time, but in a longer pitch, their background and their stories, because again, that evokes emotion. I think lots of times when you're pitching, it's twofold. It has to be common sense. This is a product that makes sense. But two, man, I want to write a check because I felt that, right? And then lastly, obviously belief in the team and everything else. So kind of expanding on your team as well, a little bit more so, kind of beyond yourself, who else is engaged in doing this and why, I think would be important in a longer pitch. But again, I think the clarity of identifying what the problem was, kind of how you're going about trying to solve it, and then obviously at the ask at the end, within a 4-minute time frame, pretty good. But I'll stop there because we only have 4 minutes for questions too.
Well, I'll start by saying I would take the second meeting. I thought for 4 minutes you told, yeah. You know, I heard enough to get me interested. I agree. I think walking me through the personal story at the beginning, it's always important for me that people are building things that they intrinsically understand or that they've solving a problem that they've encountered. And, you know, I think in general, you outlined the majority of things in a way that I could probably come away and get 90% correct about exactly what you're doing. I'd say the one thing, or the two things that I would want a little bit more information on, if you could, in a future, would be one, it's very easier and happens a lot where entrepreneurs cite a market opportunity, which is this like entire industry, right? It's like, it's a $400 billion market. Well, probably not for exactly what you're doing. So I think if you were to describe to me exactly your revenue model, say like, oh, we make $100 a head here or whatever, these are the number of people, these are the number of institutions, et cetera, and just do me kind of a really quick, like, this is truly my market opportunity. That's something we'll probably end up doing before we invest, because we want to make sure it's a big enough market for us to be interested in. But I just say that's one element. And then help me contextualize who else is working. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in ed tech, alternative tech. There's the income sharing agreements and stuff like that. So help me contextualize where you sit amongst all the other innovation that's going on in ed tech that's trying to solve some of these problems. But I mean, these are nitpicks for a 4-minute. These are things I would ask for in the next meeting. But I would start by saying, yeah, I'd take a second meeting on this.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, that's it, yeah. Give it up here.